evening. I'm your host, Karen Udis, in this series on the network of Global Corporate Control. Today's show is pre-recorded and is called We Have the Right to Put the Banking Cartel Out of the Business of Starting Wars, Lying to Us, Stealing. Thanks, as always, to Carmen Stanley, studio producer and director, and Aliyah Jamari, audio and teleprompter. I began this series after many years of trying to deal with the mainstream media. Working in the World Bank's legal department, where I fought the deepest corruption in the world's financial system for 21 years, was another way of preparing to represent all of the world's people as the Overseer Mandate Trustee for the trust containing the world's monetary gold reserves and other wealth. I have a story to tell to each and every person on earth. This is a big job. Luckily, I've been willing to learn on the job and have been ready to accept help. As you all have seen over the years, I am not afraid to admit when I'm wrong, and I accept feedback. This is a polite way of saying that I'm just the opposite of shy. I've already told you the story of how I got my father's attention when I was very young, and he was not paying attention to me when I thought he needed to. I described this story 5 years ago in a letter to the ambassador of the South Pacific Triangle nations. From Ambassador Otimi on the 9th of July, 2014. To Karen Udis. Dear Karen, thanks for your funny email. I'm still chuckling to myself. That really cracked me up. I had to read it twice, in fact. However, when any Maori has a crack at you, just do this. Please find your birthrights according to our 13-month Maori calendar. It hasn't been fully released as yet, so you'll be much further ahead than any of the critics. Trouble is, they don't understand the fifth dimension. Please accept this in love and light, okay? And what I sent in reply to Ambassador Otimi. Dear Ambassador Otimi, thank you for your email informing me that you're Ambassador of Foreign Affairs to the Sovereign Squamish Government of Canada. I have heard of the fifth dimension shift, but I'm still firmly rooted in this dimension and trying to help us all strengthen ourselves and regain our health here and now. My mother just turned 90. She was principal in an elementary school. My father died 7 years ago. He was a small businessman and president of the District Grocers Association. We were quite a father and daughter team. I punched him in the balls when I was 4 because he wasn't taking me seriously. Honest. He just laughed, although I did hurt him, and he took me seriously ever since then. I'm writing the DCTV teleprompter the night before a cardio version in the morning. That was this morning. This is to reverse the atrial fibrillation that I developed suddenly last month. Well, let's stop the scrolling and let me tell you what happened this morning. We didn't have the procedure because my blood pressure was much higher than it's ever been. So that was kind of disappointing. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to do the live segment. Well, that was what we just finished today. And I pre-taped, that's what we're doing. We're pre-taping next week's show. The Banking Cartel interfered with the archives of the DCTV series that I posted. So now the playback function is out of sync. YouTube also superimposed other videos over the thumbnail that was originally tweeted, and you can see in the teleprompter what they've done. We are mobilizing a world fight to end corruption in the world's monetary system. I've already exposed Gerald Celente as an agent of the banking cartel. That I did on the 12th of February. I said World War III to prevent the world. Oh, this is what Gerald Celente said, sorry. He said World War III to prevent the worst world market crash in history. Gerald. The alternative media contains just about as much disinformation as the mainstream media. There shouldn't be a gold audit. The crooks are unable to audit gold. I've already exposed that there's nothing but lies in connection with a gold audit. Why would anybody think Gerald Celente has anything to tell anyone about reality after I exposed Gerald Celente? And then there was supposedly a Freedom of Information Act, but that request was bogus. That was on Silver Dollar and Coase Janssen. They didn't try and defend their lies after I pointed out on the 7th of March last year that they were lying. There was only a paper audit. I also tweeted that the Fed has no gold and the audit that Silver Dollar and Coase Janssen are referring to is nothing but a hoax and a lie. The Freedom of Information Act information is manufactured. How do I know this? It's because the Treasury and Office of Inspector General audit was only done by looking at a paper schedule. I downloaded the Treasury audit of the Fed's gold after the link had been broken using a Wayback option on the internet. They're just some of the lies that I've exposed. The gravest lies have to do with the loyalty of the United States troops in the military. And then on the 16th of April, YouTube has sock puppets. They question whether I'm a gatekeeper when my transparent record shows that I have consistently preserved the world's assets in the global debt facility. Who would I be a gatekeeper for when not a single embassy has questioned whether I speak on behalf of the world's people on matters involving the global debt facility? When I speak for the U.S. people until the Constitution of 1789 goes back into effect via an Article 5 Constitutional Convention. When I'm cutting off the interest payments to the banking cartel and offsetting that scam called country debt, all the while decentralizing and turning corporate governments back to the people in their countries. And last but not least, preventing agents of the banking cartel from usurping the U.S. military might. General Dunford is not going to succeed in surrendering the United States military unilaterally through a crash of the unconstitutional Federal Reserve note. I'd like to show you an email I received on the 4th of October 2015 from one of the enlisted troops. Here is what the U.S. military has to say about the treason, and I've tweeted that. And this is what a U.S. troop emailed me. I've been helping medias for the past 3 years, Press TV, RT, and several others, and I've been on the front line and have seen things that people never thought existed. I have ties to the militias and military. We have 70% of the U.S. military on our side. In an editorial in the New York Times, General John Spencer was trying to isolate the U.S. military from social media to shield the traitors like General Dunford from the truth. This has only backfired, and with this, General Dunford is doubly exposed as a bully and a coward, and above all, a traitor. And then in 2014, I sent to Wolfgang Struck an email. Wolfgang, you say that you're not looking for enemies, yet you're smearing me with the fake. You're also insulting TVM because it was TVM who created the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, that's Marcos, and the IMF articles, which is where you will find me, and certainly not with the Bretton Woods Committee or with Nixon, who suspended the convertibility of the U.S. dollar to gold. And then on the 13th of November in 2014, Wolfgang Struck wrote, Dear Karen, you'll not be surprised to find that I find your decision intriguing. Imagine, here someone gets the opportunity to represent the wealth of the nations, and you decline it with a bad excuse. I find this about the dead Bretton Woods system, which did nothing 1 year before the end of World War II, but distribute the best pieces of flesh among and to the usual suspects. And then I wrote to Wolfgang in November 2014. Wolfgang, I don't think you understand that the Bretton Woods institutions are the building block of the international monetary system. I do care about that. If I forsake this job, I'll never forgive myself. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I am. And a skeptic wrote in 2015, Karen, I'm befuddled and mystified, and I'm no slouch. So it is this that is misty and unclear and seemingly incredulous to me. Then 99.9% wouldn't be able to understand this and what's going on. I believe you, but I don't understand what I believe. 1. Where can I see the history behind the global debt facility? You mean Marcos was actually a hero for the world? Maybe Pol Pot too. Pol Pot probably not. Marcos and Hitler too. And then I tweeted, the network of global corporate control hacked into my AWS account to strip this letter from China to John Kerry. And then you can see in the teleprompter what the letter was. Let me know if you receive it. 3. Where is the gold? If there is, I'm going to see for myself. The bulk is being guarded by the U.S. military in the Philippines. I understand some of it may have been illegally lifted, and I've filed a claim with the insurers. And then here's a picture with the signatures of Eisenhower and Truman, and you can see that up on the screen. In total, try to explain things like you're talking to a 6-year-old, and try not to include names and data that the listener doesn't understand or know about. Once you drop a name or a law that they do not know about, they blank out. And I wrote in 2015, BIS is Bank for International Settlements. I receive a World Bank pension. The Board of Executive Directors and Board of Governors reinstated me. And then I've got an attachment detailing my reinstatement. The bureaucracy is captured by the network of global corporate control. The legal opinion to the General Assembly describes how craven the Board of Governors is to the network of global corporate control. I write on World Bank letterhead and nobody interferes. Perhaps that's because I'm one of the 6 individuals in the world who can access the gray interbank screens. I refused to do it until there's a way to prevent theft of the assets. No, the global debt facility is assets in a trust, the world's wealth to be exact. This letter from the Chinese shows you it's for real. The document describes it quite well. These assets don't have a website. They were sequestered. That means hidden. Here's the International Court of Justice's and CIA's attempt this month, this was written a few years ago, to steal the world's assets. Let me know if you want to see about 6 different threats and requests for me to authenticate someone's signature authority so they can steal the assets in the global debt facility. You can see all of those requests. I have turned down all of them. And a skeptic wrote in 2015, I've government contacts here in, and I didn't tell you which government, not the U.S. or the World Bank. Are you still on the World Bank payroll with title, but they won't let you in? Another question, can I go and visit this global debt facility in Manila? I haven't found any other information on this existence of the global debt facility other than what you've written. Does the global debt facility have an address or website or anything like that? What's the Bank for International Settlement? Sorry for my ignorance. And I wrote in response, I think Iceland and Hungary are at least 2 countries. The countries that don't belong to the BIS are probably candidates, although they have to find a way around the SWIFT system. And many of them, like the fractional reserve fiat system, where they can extract usury from their people. You have good contacts with the government, so could you ask them to let me into the World Bank? What I did yesterday means that the DC police aren't going to pull me out, but I have to get in. Well, so far they're not letting me into the World Bank. And then in 2015, I wrote, P.S. This shows how to end state capture at the World Bank, thereby claiming the assets in the global debt facility for the citizenry via a global currency reset. And this describes the reset, and I've got links to that, exposing the truth about traitors like General Dunford. No, my meeting with Mr. Chen hasn't taken place. During that meeting, I will discuss outstanding items in the letter of intent. The proposed draft monetary agreement, which was forwarded to the Tokyo embassies. We need to agree on the historic price of gold, on advanced administrative costs approved by the Board of Executive Directors in 2014, my admittance to World Bank and IMF headquarters and country offices, differentiating and disposing of excess speculative foreign currencies, audit of gold in the global debt facility, and claims of possible thefts, winding down the network of global corporate control, and bankruptcy of the banks operating under various jurisdictions, transitional arrangements, and local currencies, and bailment laws. These are all things that we have to agree on. We'll agree with the Board of Executive Directors on an action plan to tackle these issues. Since my authority rests upon my agreement with the Board of Governors and Board of Executive Directors that anything I do is with their explicit approval, my authority to proceed as you request will be vetted by the entire board and approved by them. Any other procedure will result in World War III. In 2015, this is a person from Taiwan. Dear Karen, we hope your request for a meeting with Mr. Chen was granted and has taken place. Otherwise, do let us know. Whatever direction given to you of paramount importance, YCT, that's a company in Taiwan, wants you to know that besides the existing 6 individuals amongst the 25 Board of Governors of the World Bank who are authorized to access and verify Intrawell Limited's account. He's lying. We're talking about the Global Debt Facility. You are the 7th individual entrusted and authorized to do so without any hindrance whatsoever by virtue of YCT's delegation of power to you. That's a lie. It's not because of YCT. It's because the board has agreed that that's what I do. And in a letter of November 25, 2014, in your possession, and what I say in the teleprompter, it's the Board of Governors of the World Bank and IMF that have delegated this power to me, as they are the only entity under the Bilateral Minesfield Breakthrough Successor Agreement who may designate this authority. It's not YCT. And then in the letter from this man in Taiwan, YCT has instructed me to strongly urge and encourage you to take the bull by its horn, which is to determine the balance of funds accumulating in Intrawell Limited's account. That's really the Global Debt Facility. Print out its statement and then proceed to Taipei, Taiwan, to authenticate and verify all original documents to be presented by the trustees of Intrawell's funds earmarked for the benefits of humanity. Well, he's trying to steal humanity's assets. Simultaneously, you will also be meeting up with the real Monsignor Dr. Floro E. Garcia to authenticate and verify all legal documents in his custody pertaining to the Global Debt Facility, TVM LSM 666. You will soon be able to use your wisdom to disregard and rubbish all the rantings and frustrations being thrown at you by Wolfgang Struck, meant to discredit Monsignor Dr. Floro E. Garcia. Just ask Wolfgang Struck this simple, straightforward question. Who appointed Wolfgang Struck to handle the Global Debt Facility matter in the first place, and subsequently issued him 2 cease and desist letters to stop him from further involvement? May God bless you always in all your undertakings and endeavors for the benefits of humanity. Respectfully yours, Yong Kai Fuk, Personal Assistant for Mr. Ye Chang Sai, YCT Development Corporation. And you can see a lot of attempts from other people trying to steal humanity's assets. And I responded at the time, "Dear Kai Fook, thank you for your email. However, the board has only authorized the global debt facility to be used for purposes of replacing the fractional reserve fiat currencies, all as set forth in their decision of June 22, 2014. I've corrected your address and the address for Mr. Peng Fainan, Governor of the Central Bank of Taiwan, in the letter of intent. Scanned shipment receipts are attached." And then from Kai Fook Yang, this is dated November 13, 2014. "Dear Karen, a very good morning to you. By the time you read this email, your letter of intent, as a matter of banking protocol on communication, of which you're familiar, you're kindly requested by the following recipients to resend your original signed letter of intent to them by DHL or UPS courier to the following address." And then he's given me their addresses in Taiwan. And World Bank's black screen, account on Euroclear, strictly private and confidential. I'm under instruction by Mr. Ye Cheng Tsai to confidentially unveil to you the existence of the above highly classified account, with funds accrued and continuously accumulating to a colossal sum exceeding 700 trillion to date. A brief write-up reported reliably by Susan Posel in her Occupy Corporation News media on the 21st of April 2012 is attached for your insight into the matter. The said highly classified funds account is only privy to 6 individuals who are appointees of the G20 countries, as I was given to understand, but not to be requoted. These 6 authorized individuals, who are amongst the 25 executive directors of the World Bank whom you report to, are the only ones with access codes to this black screen account opened and maintained under the name Intrawell Group Limited, unbeknown by the misinformed speculators as the Dragon Families of China. Your very urgent assignment from YCT now as the acting general counsel of the World Bank, if you're able to identify or already in the know of any of these 6 authorized individuals who will be at your request and use their access codes to access Euroclear screen to print out a current statement of the aforementioned Intrawell Group Limited's classified account. YCT will then authorize you to follow the set procedures to transfer funds out of this classified account for approved humanitarian projects, fair distribution of funds to all befitting countries, to eradicate poverty, and to elevate the livelihood and general well-being of mankind. To assist you in your undertaking of the assignment, as in 3 above, attached herewith are relevant documents important for you to produce before any of the 6 authorized individuals identified by you to gain his or her trust and unrestricted cooperation to access Euroclear screen, to verify and transfer funds therefrom under the delegated authority and direction of YCT. That's just an attempt to steal. As a reminder, YCT stresses that you must act boldly and swiftly to achieve the advantage of a pole position in the race ahead of the government of China, Japan, France, Germany, and of course the USA, all of which has been clamoring for YCT's consent for upteen years, more rigorously now than ever. Last but not least, it's YCT's wish that you refrain entirely and absolutely from publicizing and disclosing information of the above mission of utmost importance and sensibility on social medias, such as talk shows. So everybody's asking me to keep my mouth shut, but that is obviously not what I'm doing. Is it? No, it's not. Please maintain strict privacy and confidentiality. No, that's not happening. Under the global currency reset. Everybody is going to know everything. And we're all in charge. Do feel free to contact me anytime, even on Skype chat for expediency other than by emails, if you need further information or clarification. May the forces be with you. Best regards. Young Tai Fook, Personal Assistant for Mr. Ye Cheng Tsai, YCT Development Corporation. And what I wrote on the 14th of November 2014 to Wolfgang Struck. Wolfgang, you say you're not looking for enemies, yet you're smearing me with the fake. Actually, can you scroll down? I think I've already read this one. I should have edited the teleprompter better, but as I mentioned to you, I thought I was having this procedure to get my heartbeat to be more regular. Wolfgang, I don't think you understand that the Bretton Woods institutions are the building block of the international monetary system. Yeah, I already read that. Keep scrolling. We'll get to the part that's current. Imagine you lose your standing. This is from Wolfgang Struck. You lose your standing as legal counsel of the Global Debt Facility. Oh my God. You can't lose that because it's only in your mind. No, it's not only in my mind. We're all working together on this, actually. Okay, keep scrolling, please. Thanks. I've had to rewrite this teleprompter so many times, so I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. The computer froze again when I was elaborating on how I was injured a week. I wrote this a while ago, when I was knocked down from the back and I hit my head hard on the ground. Yes, I'm always under attack. And I'm also under protection, but I'm working with everybody. I want to thank you for listening to another segment in this series on the network of global corporate control. Team Humanity is working together to wind down the banking cartel that has caused so much misery and corruption. The people who don't think there's any, any progress ought to try and imagine how this segment is coming across to the banking cartel.